Hold on to your butts, bro chachos.
Buckle up, jackasses. It's time to talk Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1. There will indeed be some spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but my question is why? So make sure you skip to the end, like the very, very end, like credits rolling in. Now, it's been, 20 years, give or take, since the last season. In case you haven't been paying attention, not much has happened in the world since the last time we left Hawkins.
Don't shoot! Will, to the best of my ability.
Anyway, starting with the new season, it is roughly a year since the events unfolded with the Ruskies in Season 3. The kid actors are now 37 and dealing with some very adult issues. Season 4 begins with a younger, obviously deep-faked 11 going through Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, brutally murdering every youngster with superpowers in the facility. Dr. Martin Brennan, better known as Papa, is an overacting Matthew Modine, and he comes in to ask 11,
What have you done?
I don't know if it's clear or not. We, the viewer, are indeed in for a wild ride. As we flash forward a little bit, Eleven is piecing together a narrated note to her long-distance teenage love, Mike.
Dear Mike, today is day 185.
As she narrates her letter talking about how extraordinary life is in her new state of California, we see that reality doesn't match what she is telling Mike. Elle, now powerless, doesn't have the social skills or intellect to compete with the Carrie-like bullying making her life a living hell. Joyce, in the meantime, is trying to move on from the tragedy of losing Hopper and to adjust to her life and work in her new state. A package shows up from Russia, and this package indicates that Hopper may still be alive. Back in Hawkins, we catch up with the rest of the motley crew. Dustin, Mike, and Lucas are a part of a Hellfire D&D club. Lucas is now a bench warmer on the high school basketball team. As the viewers, we will soon see that his loyalties are divided. Robin and Steve are BFF who are still working together, this time at the video rental store. The video rental store. Max, aka the real star of this season, is dealing with a lot. She's still trying to cope with losing her asshat stepbrother Billy. Her stepdad, in the meantime, has left her mom and they had no choice but to move into the trailer park. Conveniently, she seems to live across from a new character we are introduced to shortly. Eddie Munson is said character. We are to believe he is in his 8th or 9th or 10th, I don't know, but he's a senior in high school, roughly around 45 years old. Going back to the Hellfire Club, he is also the dungeon master of this epic game that they have been playing. Side note, every time these kids play a D&D game, they ironically introduce us to the bad guy of the season. Ain't Hollywood convenient like that? We also get introduced to the 55-year-old captain of the basketball team, Jason Carver, and his seemingly doomed cheerleader captain girlfriend, Chrissy Cunningham. Jason, of course, has to give an inspirational speech with a side of 80s douche for the upcoming big game.
You suck, you jackass.
Anyway, Chrissy has a secret, and upon first impression, I thought she had some psychedelic problem.
DMT was DMT. The DMT was DMT.
She's not feeling well and constantly saying things that aren't there. She's daydreaming a Freddy Krueger-like monster is after her. We find out that she has become the victim of a spell cast by a dark wizard who the kids end up calling
Vecna.
To deal with losing her mind, Chrissy gets in touch with Eddie to buy some drugs, because that's what he's well known for. She believes that this will help her cope with the spinning insanity going on in her head. As Chrissy goes to Eddie's trailer home, Max sees them show up together.
Excellent!
Very odd seeing the popular girl with the old man outcast, Eddie. Once inside the trailer, Eddie looks for the drugs Chrissy came to purchase. Chrissy then goes to what can only be described as a trance, and Eddie tries to snap her out of it, but not before she's flung into the ceiling and suffers a brutal, gruesome death. I have to say, up until this point, that was one of the most surprising things I've seen happen in this series, possibly the first R-rated scene. Leading to her death, Chrissy saw what we can only assume are some over-dramatized events from her life. What we come to find out is that those events are negative memories and regrets. Now, this is just the first episode. If you're a fan of the show, you're in for a treat, as each episode exceeds 1 hour in length and the fast-approaching second volume only has 2 episodes, but each episode is set to be at least 2 hours in length. I don't want to review each episode, so let's just go over the basics. I, for one, loved the dark, foreboding tone. It has so many Easter eggs and references, but it took most of its inspiration from the Nightmare on Elm Street series that dominated the 80s. The music has always been the driving force for this series, and the 4th season is no exception. From the awesome score and to breathing life back into a 36-year-old song.
Shut up! Oh my God, I don't care!
To all the 80s classics in between, the music for the show has never been better. The Vecna-induced death scenes are clever and quite gruesome for the squeamish. Even though each episode is quite long compared to previous seasons, it is a welcomed addition here. The pacing is what really helped fly through each episode. I, for one, must say these kids have really turned into great actors. For me, the star of this season is Sadie Sink, or otherwise known as Max. She absolutely slayed it here. She channeled depth, emotion, and genuine fear. The other standout performance was by newcomer Joseph Quinn, who plays Eddie Munson. He has his ridiculous, overperforming moment early in the episode, but he settles into his character with ease. When he tries to break Chrissy from her Vecna-generated trance, the viewer genuinely feels his fear. He really played scared well, and kudos to that. David Harbour and Winona Ryder are as great as usual, and it really does make me chuckle whenever I hear David Harbour utter lines like this.
Because of commie bastards like you. Oh, Billy.
This is the crowning achievement of the series to this point. There's a real sense of urgency with Max's dire situation, and the viewers feel her emotions unfold with her. An episode like this is why I fell in love with movies to begin with. The resolving scene where Max is able to break away from Vecna and escape his trance will probably be one of the most memorable moments from the series when all is said and done. If you blink, you will miss every Easter egg moment. There are better videos on YouTube explaining them, so check the links below if you want to invest more time in that. Good lord, I miss those days. Walking through a Blockbuster on a Friday is almost as memorable as losing my virginity. No, it's even more so memorable. That shit was a disaster.
The world!
I feel like it's been a while since we've seen the kids really sit down and play D&D. Even though the scene unfolds almost as a parody of itself, it was refreshing to see the boys back to basics. This character added a nice element to the Stranger Things lore. We are led to believe that he has something to do with Vecna and the brutal way these kids are dying. Also, props to the team for bringing in legendary Freddy Krueger actor Robert Englund to play Creel. Over the season, when Elle is trying to relive past trauma, we get a lot of scenes with a nice orderly at Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, who seems to be helping Eleven. In the final episode, young Elle removes a chip from his neck after it is revealed to us that he is the fabled One, the OG X-Man, if you will. Through exposition, it is revealed to us that the orderly was Victor Creel's son, Henry, who, unbeknownst to the viewer, naturally has powers similar to Eleven's. He also seems to be able to play with time. It wasn't yet explained to us how that plays into the equation. As the episode goes on, we see that Henry actually causes the mayhem and killed the mutants. Elle and Henry duke it out with their telekinetic prowess.
Woo! Superhero landing!
Eleven eventually outduels Henry mano a mano and sends him into the Upside Down, in a very similar way that she did to the Demogorgon in Season 1. During his trip there, we discover that Vecna is actually Henry. So many questions here, many I hope are answered in Volume 2. There has been some griping about the Hopper and a Russian prison element to the show. I, for one, enjoyed it. It really helped develop more of Hopper's character and brought a new level of humanity to him. I was worried that he was starting to become a caricature, especially after the way he was portrayed in the previous season. Speaking of caricatures, Murray is the ultimate caricature. He's ridiculous, over the top, and has little to no character development. He must be a screenwriter's worst nightmare because he's used kind of as a comedic gimmick. Ultimately, his character helps drive the story forward, provides useful, convenient martial arts and language skills, and plays off of Joyce masterfully. Erica has also been a fan favorite, and with good reason. She's smart, sassy, hilarious, and an independent woman who don't need no man. And then Argyle is there. He's high, he's my spirit animal, that is all. Now for the bad. This list isn't nearly as extensive, but that's a good thing. First, there's no way around this. I'm not into the checking of boxes that Netflix tries to do with every show. There were definitely some concerns that the show was going to become a woke dumpster fire, and it really was starting to trend that way. They're clearly setting up Will to have this deep, dark secret, which I think we all know.
It's not my fault you don't like girls.
It would be ridiculous to think that there's anything wrong with that, but like so many shows before this, they're adding this element to his character because they can. What does this add to the overall story?
Absolutely nothing.
It is just another box to check so the overlords at Netflix are satisfied that they adequately presented their agenda. On a similar note, I'm pretty sure my eyes audibly rolled into the back of my head when this scene took place.
I think we need you to protect us.
This is a minor gripe, but a lot of us fans share the same sentiment. While the once child actors are now collecting Social Security, the wait for this show was far too long.
It's been 84 years.
Season 4, in my opinion, was the best of the series. It is well crafted and well paced. The writing, direction, acting, editing, and musical score are all better than it has ever been. I, for one, am glad to see the series is amping up, taking risks, and completely flipping the tone on its head. This jackass over here would give this season a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you like what you watch, please subscribe and share. If you didn't, well, there's always next time. P.S. This is my very first YouTube video. Go easy on me. Next video will be coming soon.
Bye, Felicia.
You suck, you jackass.